Hey guys, Plasticon here. This is a bit of a sit-down talk. I recently put a post up on Facebook, and I'm zoomed in way too much. There we go. I don't want you guys to get light. But anyway, I wanted to talk about a Facebook post that I put up recently. I do know I have some people that have been following me all over the place. And I did mention some stuff about possibly quitting YouTube. I had quite a few people actually come to me personally and say, hey, don't do that. You're doing a lot of cool stuff. You're sticking with it. You've been doing this for well over a decade, which, now that I think about it, my YouTube's like 13 years old. It's a teenager. Trying to take care of a teenager. I can't even do this anyway. I wanted to come out and say thank you guys for supporting everything I've been doing. I'm not quitting YouTube. I'm not going to stop doing it. It's something that I do for my mental health. It's something that I do even for my physical health. It helps me in a lot of ways because I have different things I do all the time. I've got all different kinds of stuff. Lately, I know some of you guys have been like, okay, what's these, you're doing toy searches and stuff like that and in the community and such. And I try doing that because I want things to be interesting, I don't always want to review a toy. I mean, these toys are amazing, right? I love my little transforming robots, especially if they turn into a train. How the heck did I miss transform them? I have no idea. See, choo-choo. I like my choo-choo. My choo-choos. I like my choo-choo trains. Anyway, especially if they turn into something like that. I like my toys. My toys is probably the one thing that's gotten me through more trials and tribulations in my life than anything. When I was in the military, how I quit drinking is I started buying Lego. I started buying more Transformers. I started buying all different kinds of action figures and stuff when I was in the service. And I had a lot of G.I. Joe at the time too. There were a few times I've had to part with things throughout the years because I just didn't have room for it. There was no actual way for me to transport some of the stuff throughout the years. So I've had different collections throughout my entire life. But toy collecting is a huge thing for me. But I'm also starting to learn stuff about comic books. Comic books are really cool. They're awesome. Some of them I'm never going to be able to afford, nor be able to find. And I'm just not big on spending a whole lot of money on a lot of this stuff either. Especially since I've gotten older, I have very limited space. And I'll be end up doing a thing here pretty soon, showing you guys my studio space. Showing you guys how I do my customs and what room I have to do my customs in. And eventually I'll end up doing a whole thing about my collection room. I do have a collection room, and it's pretty full. And it's full of everything that I want. Not full of stuff that I don't. And that's the thing. That's the big key thing with my collecting. I know a lot of guys out there are like, okay, well, why didn't you buy any of the new Generation 2 stuff that came out? I'll be honest with you. When I started collecting the newer figures for G2, I had pretty much all the Transformer Collector Club ones. I had all the BotCon ones. There's a couple I didn't get because they were way out of my price range. So I made a custom of one of them. And I did the whole Combiner Wars thing, and I pretty much took every Combiner War figure I can think of and made the G2 counterpart versions of those. And at that point, I was like, why do I need two G2 Megatrons? Why do I need two G2 Menasors? Why do I need two G2 Superions and so on and so forth, you know? So I was like, no. Have to pump the brakes somewhere. So when it comes to collecting, I tend to collect things that I really, really need in my collection. First off, it's got to be sentimental. It's got to have some kind of sentimental value to it for me. And that's the biggest one. Second, does it actually fit in with my collection? Can I do a photo shoot or play with them together and make it make sense? Now I do know, like, when it comes to some of my sentimental toys, they don't fit in, but there's exceptions to those rules. Take, for instance, my little custom guy I made here, this Batman custom I made. I don't really do a lot of superhero stuff. This just screamed correct to me. Plus, it's sentimental because a friend of mine sent it to me. It made it more sentimental because I turned it into this. And he expected me to do that, by the way. This wasn't one of those, oh, you send me a toy, I'm going to tear it apart and do it. No, that's not how I do things. I only do this usually when somebody says, hey, it might be cool if you do this. Or if I do any kind of like additional stuff to said toy to make it better. That's one big thing I get into. I'm big into the customization stuff. Making my own toys is something I've always done. Even when I was a kid, I made my own stuff. I was always getting hold of model kits and building them the way I wanted. Back when I was a kid, I collected the Micro Machines Action Fleet for Star Wars. Had pretty much the entire run, but I wanted an indoor forest, so I built it out of what everybody else had pretty much built it out of, like toilet paper tubes, paper towel tubes, and then I got these little plastic, trying to remember their little plastic cover you put over food. And I painted them all green. Painted the trunks, glued them all together. Made my own forest for indoor. So that way I could have my Ewoks and AT-AT walkers and stuff walking through there fighting and such. You know, this is stuff I did when I was a kid. Heck, I even made my own, like, inner droid factory kind of thing because I could never afford it, so I built my own out of just random spare parts and junk I had laying around. Like, I sometimes found stuff that my dad had laying around that was just absolute garbage, so I turned it into something. And I think that's where a lot of my crazy customization had come in. As I got older, I found out there was more things I could do with customizing, and that's one big thing I am big into, is customizing toys. Whether I'm making my own or improving on something that was already existed. Like, one thing I can tell you I did improve. This guy here, I fixed the guns so they actually fit inside of his feet. And the other thing I did to him is I added the Plasticon emblem, which, I consider that very minor. But I went through and I painted his crotch, and if you look at the other portion, there's another part. You can't see it because it's all transformed, but I did paint the windows on this, that way it looked more like Six Shot. Because it was missing that stuff. It had the sculpting but no paint. Like, you guys painted everything else. You couldn't have slapped a little bit of black there and call it good? I don't know. I tend to improve toys when I get them. That's something I try to do. But anyway, back to the YouTube thing. YouTube has been a very big outlet for me and has helped me grow as a filmmaker, grow as a artist, grow as just a creator in general. I do consider myself a bit of an artist because I do paint things, I do sculpt things, I create things. And there have been a few times I've actually made things even on computers. Like you guys saw the Generation 2 sticker sheets I made for Defense Order and Minnesota. I made those from scratch. I literally went through and created those. Yeah, some of the Autobot emblems, stuff like that, I did take from other stuff, but I put them in there and then made them fit in. So they fit into the stuff perfectly. And I changed the colors of them, and there was a lot of stuff I had to do to manipulate it and change it. I have dabbled with the AI stuff. I'm still kind of playing with that. It's something I just kind of mess with every now and then. It's pretty much a toy to me. Like, I'm always kind of people that if a tool comes out, I try to learn how to use it. When it came to the whole thing with podcasting, that kind of went to the wayside because time, people kind of broke off from it. It kind of went sideways. I am talking to some other people, and this is kind of a bit of a spoiler. I am talking to some other people about possibly starting a podcast here on the channel. I don't know when it's going to happen. We're still in the works. I'm still personally trying to figure out all this new tech that they have for all this podcasting stuff, because I'm pretty behind on some of this stuff. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Because it hasn't been something that I've done in a long time. I've done like live streaming, but when you're doing live streaming, but you're also trying to pipe in other people from a remote location, it's a lot different. So you have to have different other programs open at the time. I haven't tested it on my old rig yet. If it doesn't work there, then I'm going to have to do it on my new rig. And everybody's like, well, why don't you just use your new rig consistently? Because a lot of my stuff is still on my old rig. And I'm always kind of people, if I got two machines, why not utilize both? I don't get rid of something. Some people are like, oh, throw everything into one, and then, no. I've always been one of those kind of people that if you split up your workload on several machines, you won't ever have something burn completely out. So it's just something that I've learned throughout the years of being a filmmaker, creator, gamer, whatever. As for games, I thought about getting into maybe doing a little bit of Twitch. If I do Twitch, I'm not really sure what I'm doing there yet. It more than likely will be like old games like Command and Conquer, maybe some Doom, Wolfenstein, Medal of Honor. Those were my games. That's the stuff I like. So it'll be stuff like that. It's not going to be it won't be League of Legends. It won't be the new, new Marvel Rivals. I'm not going down that route. Everybody else is doing that. Why do I want to do that? You guys have 30 other people you can watch doing that. Little old me, I'm going to barely even know what I'm doing when I'm playing it anyway. And I'm just one of these kind of people. I'd rather play something I'm more familiar with, something I'm having fun with. That's the whole point of me doing YouTube, is for me to have fun. I'm wanting the channel to expand. I really do. I tried Patreon stuff. That stuff kind of went sideways because everything else was going on. I was like, you know what? Patreon's too much for me. I have YouTube memberships. And I haven't had anybody subscribe to the membership thing because no one really... Like I said, the tier I put down was like $1. You throw me $1, that dollar's going to go toward me trying to keep everything going on the channel. It'll help me buy supplies and games and programs and all different kinds of stuff I can do on the channel. So I do need that type of thing. It would help a lot. But I'm not begging anybody for money, because it's not what I do. I don't beg people for anything. I actually don't expect anything out of some people. I really don't, because I'm just not one of those kind of people. I've worked hard for everything I have. I've jumped through hoops to get most of the stuff I've had. Like, I've had to actually do something to get said thing. Nobody handed it to me. Some people are like, well, buy a new camera. I'm like, are you going to buy me a new one? Because I can't afford it. I can't. I've got a handful of cameras. They're all older. They all work just fine. I do admit the comic shop, when I'm doing videos for them, I'm using their new DJI. Their little tiny little gimbal camera. It's fun. It's cool. I don't have the money for one though. That's theirs. I'm not going to use their equipment to film my YouTube either. So, and I actually thought about getting maybe like a Gen 1 Pocket, whatever the heck it is, and it's like $150 on eBay, and I'm like, that's 150 bones I don't have laying around. If I had 150 bones, I'd be buying a few other robots I need to finish my collection with instead of a camera, because I have cameras at work. I have 2 webcams, you know, 2 handy cams, a DSLR, GoPro. Well, technically, 3 handy cams, including this old beater Sanyo I have here that I've had for ages. I've had this ever since I was in the military. This thing is beat. I mean, I had to fix this with glue. This thing works still, by the way. Battery doesn't hold up very well on it sometimes, but that's, you know, I don't care. Like, to me, the quality of a video should be mainly audio. The visuals can kind of come and go, because most people throw filters on everything nowadays anyway. I myself, I like the older look anyway. Always have. If I could film all this stuff on something from the 80s, I would. If I could find an old 80s camcorder, I would just plug it in, pipe it in, and just record that way. Because I personally like the look. I like the 4x3. 16x9 to me was always a gimmick. Honestly, 16x9 to me was actually only useful for computers. Movies, yeah, it's okay. Whatever. It's cool to watch some movies, but not every movie back then came out in, you know, correct widescreen. Sometimes they were stretched. Sometimes they had black bars on the top and the bottom. You guys know what I'm getting at. I don't have to get into that spiel. But anyway, I want to give you guys a bit of an update on what's going on with the channel. Let you guys know that I'm doing okay. I have been down the dumps, but I'm getting there. Time progresses, stuff like that helps. We got a lot of family stuff going on currently, so we'll see where everything goes. Anyway, this is Plasticon, and this is me signing off. Peace out, y'all. I'll see you around because I have plenty more coming your way. That's it for now. Bye!